North Atlantic, 4:47 a.m., approximately 180 nautical miles east of the coast of Newfoundland. Two Victoria-class submarines of the Royal Canadian Navy, HMCS Windsor and HMCS Brook, have quietly slipped into the outer defensive ring of the USS Gerald R Ford carrier strike group, leaving almost no trace. On deck, everything appears perfectly normal. Canadian commanders believe darkness and silence are on their side. What they do not know is that the U.S. Navy detected them nearly an hour earlier, and that the response now unfolding is not an attack, but a cold, calculated move far more terrifying. The target that the Canadian submarines believe they are stalking is not merely a ship. It is a networked weapons ecosystem built around the carrier, valued in the tens of billions of dollars even before counting the aircraft. At the center of that ecosystem is USS Gerald R. Ford, CVN 78, commonly cited with a procurement cost of roughly $13.3 billion. But the carrier is only the stage. The real deterrent lies in the ring of sensors and the speed of decision-making that surrounds it. A typical escort screen of Arleigh Burke-class destroyers adds another expensive layer of certainty, often around $2.2 billion per ship, FY 2024. Each vessel is, in effect, a floating server rack with missiles attached. And on Flight 3 variants, the AN/SPY 6V1 radar is described by the U.S. Navy as a leap forward in sensitivity and tracking, the eyes of the fleet, built from scalable modules and optimized for long-range detection and rapid search. Yet against submarines, radar is only half the story. The U.S. surface screen's undersea brain is the AN/SQQ-89V Undersea Warfare Anti-Submarine Warfare Combat System, which the Navy describes as an integrated detection-to-targeting suite for both open ocean and littoral environments. Put simply, the escorts do not listen with one ear. They fuse multiple acoustic inputs into a single tactical picture that updates fast enough to matter. Above the waterline, the carrier air wing turns the ocean into a searchable grid. The AN/APY-9 radar aboard the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye is designed for wide-area early warning and command and control, guiding other assets via data link. Functionally, it acts as the conductor for everything in motion. For undersea detection, the screen's hands are the MH-60R helicopters, equipped with systems such as the AN/AQS-22 ALFS Sonar, built to hunt in complex littoral acoustics. That is why the Canadian approach, quiet, patient, and technically proficient, still carries strategic risk. A submarine may be a scalpel, but a U.S. carrier strike group is an entire hospital, complete with surgeons, scanners, and alarms. As a result, the U.S. Navy's countermove is rarely dramatic. More often, it is the colder option, controlled exposure, allowing the other side to believe it remains unseen while American.
Operators measure every acoustic signature, every timing habit, and every change in depth. Canada's plan sounds simple on paper, but in practice it is ruthless in its geometry of war. Two Victoria-class diesel-electric submarines. When submerged, it weighs around 2,700 tons and can travel underwater at speeds exceeding 23 miles per hour, faster than most ships can manage on the surface, built to wait and to remain silent. They slide along the edge of the carrier strike group's projected transit lane, like two shadows clinging to an invisible trajectory. One boat holds shallow, near snorkeling depth, refreshing air and batteries. The other sinks deeper, slowing to near stillness, letting the ocean's natural noise swallow every mechanical trace. They are not hunting a ship. They are hunting the rhythm of the formation, the carrier's periodic course changes, the escort's sonar cycles, the gaps between helicopter sorties. On the lead submarine's combat display, a firing geometry slowly takes shape, a theoretical snapshot, where a few perfectly timed seconds would be enough to guide a heavyweight torpedo. Victoria-class boats are known to carry 6 21-inch torpedo tubes and the ability to deploy Mark 48s.
weapons designed to break the largest, hardest targets at sea. Above them, the U.S. formation moves steadily, without changing pace. It looks indifferent, but indifference is not blindness. On the nearest U.S. destroyer, the undersea picture does not suddenly snap into focus. It accumulates. No alarms, no shouted warnings, just small signals that begin to feel wrong. The Arleigh Burke-class ASW suite, combining the AN-SQS-53 hull-mounted sonar and the AN-SQR-19 towed array under the AN-SQQ-89 system, starts fitting the pieces together. Hull sonar hears what is close. The towed array hears what is far away, and tries not to be heard. It does not catch a submarine in the dramatic sense. It recognizes habits, shaft rhythms, blurred frequencies, pauses that should not exist. Inside the Combat Information Center, no one says submarine. They talk about patterns, an acoustic fingerprint repeating itself. The strike group commander makes a decision more dangerous than an attack order. Do nothing. Yet. Let the Canadian boats move deeper. Let them believe they are still invisible. Then the US begins its countermove, not with weapons, but with time. A single movement breaks the surface calm. An MH-60R Seahawk lifts off the carrier deck, flying low, slow, deliberate. It does not rush toward prey. It drifts, like a light that does not need to be switched on to inspire fear. Its tool is the AN-AQS-22 ALFS dipping sonar, built to penetrate water layers and thermal boundaries, places submarines trust to be safe. Minutes later, the search expands vertically. A P-8 Poseidon appears overhead. This is not just an aircraft, it is an airborne brain, designed to turn the ocean into a grid of sonar buoys, a living probability problem. With the ability to deploy hundreds of buoys, only a few passes are enough to lock down an entire area. The Canadian crew does not hear danger, they feel it. The ocean grows busy, not to human ears, but tactically. More signals, more movement, subtle changes in the escort screen above. The lead boat slows even further, trying to become a piece of seabed. But they know their weakness. Diesel-electric boats cannot hide forever. When you need to recharge, you must rise toward exposure. The U.S. Navy does not need a perfect fix right away. It only needs to close the exits. 5:29 a.m. There is no violent pursuit. The U.S. destroyer does not charge. It alters course slightly, holds formation, as if unconcerned. Meanwhile, the helicopter maintains its steady dipping rhythm. Lower, listen, lift, shift. Coldly methodical. The P-8 lays its buoys in a wide arc, not to search, but to say, we know where you have to go. Inside the Canadian submarine, the tactical geometry tightens. Push forward and collide with an acoustic fence. Pull back and you must move, and movement makes noise. Then the message is sent, without words. The MH-60R releases a Mark 54 torpedo in a training profile into the water. Not within lethal range, but close enough to be unmistakable. No explosion, no impact. Just an object entering the sea, speaking clearly through physics. We can place a weapon in your ocean whenever we choose. Inside the Canadian hull, the air grows heavy. Not panic, but realization. The captain understands. The Americans are not just pushing them away. They are recording every turn, every speed change. Every reflex under pressure becomes data. In modern anti-submarine warfare, a signature is often more valuable than a shot. 5:38 a.m. The Canadian submarine withdraws the only safe way left, quieter than pride, deeper into the water, slipping along the thinnest path through the buoy field. The second boat, never fully committed, turns away early. It chooses not to become the next entry in the U.S. Navy's ASW library. The carrier strike group does not pursue. It does not need to. The objective has been achieved, not destruction, but dominance. Proving that when the United States decides to turn on the lights, even a capable Allied submarine force cannot remain truly invisible. By dawn, the ocean looks empty again. But it is not natural emptiness. It is emptiness under control. As dawn breaks, the most striking element is the absence of information. No public evidence, no official explanation for why the Canadian submarines withdrew. That silence becomes the message. In the political realm, it can be dismissed as routine training. In the logic of undersea warfare, however, a wordless retreat reads like tacit acknowledgement. The Stalk was seen, measured, and brought under control. At those depths, no declaration is needed. Understanding is enough. The U.S. Navy's advantage lies not in dramatic reaction, but in control of tempo. The carrier strike group does not chase or posture. It does something far more unsettling. It turns the ocean into an ordered space. Layered ASW assets close invisible circles. Escape routes are shaped before the opponent realizes they are being guided. And a non-lethal torpedo profile is released not to destroy, but to remind. Power is delivered through icy composure, signaling that every scenario has already been calculated. Behind that restraint lies the real reward: intelligence. Every course correction, every change in speed, every instinctive response under pressure leaves a trace. Modern anti-submarine warfare hunts behavior, not just targets, building profiles deep enough that next time, searching becomes unnecessary. For Canada, the cost-benefit equation flips mid-mission. Staying longer risks being remembered for years. And so the ocean returns to its familiar calm. But it is a calm forever altered. Its boundaries redrawn not by explosions, but by perfect knowledge. If this incident ever appeared in headlines, it would likely be framed in harmless terms. Routine Allied naval training, professional interaction, nothing out of the ordinary. That framing is intentional. It keeps public attention calm and limits speculation. Yet behind that neutral language lies a far sharper operational reality. In modern undersea warfare, the U.S. Navy's greatest strength is not firepower, but its ability to control escalation while steadily expanding its information advantage. This encounter can be understood as a high-level chess match. The Canadian submarines execute a familiar stealth maneuver, slipping quietly into a sensitive area near the carrier group. The U.S. response is not an immediate strike. Instead, it reshapes the game itself, maintaining formation and speed, deploying helicopters to dip sonar in a steady rhythm, laying selective sonobuoy patterns, and finally delivering an unmistakable signal, a torpedo profile used not to attack, but to communicate. The message is simple and unmistakable. The United States does not need to fire a weapon to demonstrate control of the battle space. This contrast, overwhelming capability paired with deliberate restraint, is the core of modern deterrence. Dominance does not require spectacle or violence. It requires convincing the other side that every move is observed, measured, and constrained. The final lesson is equally clear. In 21st century undersea competition, the most unsettling countermove is not escalation, but calm, intentional restraint backed by superior sensing, faster decision-making, and absolute confidence in control.